Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland have an outstanding beef that continues. The latest installment has Khamzat asking Strickland, "Is this your father?" And he also questions, "Who is this guy?" Both Strickland and Khamzat wanted a title shot next against DDP, but Strickland ended up getting it UFC 312, February 8th, Sydney, Australia, in the main event. The first fight was a close one. DDP does not expect this one to be close. This time they won't call it a robbery, they're gonna call it attempted murder. Prepare to be amazed. I wonder what tear-inducing comments Drickus is gonna come up with for the press conference this time. Khamzat will likely be in attendance for the Strickland versus DDP match because he is in Sydney that day. Robert Whittaker thinks DDP beats Strickland, but he thinks Khamzat beats both of them. He has experience fighting Khamzat, DDP, but never Strickland yet. Covington went off on Khamzat when asked about him.
Come shock, Coben. I mean, the guy's a scammer, dude. Look what he did to all his fans, man. He scammed all his fans with that crypto scam. I would never do that. So many people have brought me a crypto scam to pump and dump on my fans. I would never do that to my fans. I would never take you guys' hard-earned money. You know, I make good money in the UFC. I'm thankful to, you know, have the career that I have, and it's because you guys. Without fans and supporters, we're nothing. So, you know, Cumshot's a little bitch, and he's lucky we never crossed paths. I would have broke his ass inside that octagon.
Colby is headlining the card on Saturday against Buckley in Tampa, Florida. Buckley is almost a 3-1 favorite in that fight. He's been a lot more active than Colby. Colby has fought 6 fights in 5 years. This is going to be his 6th fight in 5 years, and this is Buckley's 6th fight in 2 years. Usman was making fun of Bilal because security didn't know he was the champion at UFC 310 as he was trying to get into the cage, and Joe Rogan had to vouch for him to get him into the cage. Bilal's rebuttal is, how is the podcast called Pound for Pound if he's not even ranked in the Pound for Pound? Bilal will take on Shavkat next, but if Shavkat's injured, it could be delayed, especially if it's an MCL injury. And they're supposed to fight over the weekend, but Bilal was injured. Bilal also adds about Usman, "Isn't that the guy I made cry on his own podcast?" He did appear on his podcast, and he said he broke him down verbally, mentally, and spiritually. Some theorize there might be some credence to those claims because they didn't release the episode of that podcast, causing some people to speculate maybe Usman didn't look good in those exchanges. Ilia Toporia's brother, Alexander Topuria, says he's going to be making his UFC debut early next year. At 28 years of age, he's 1 year older than Ilia. He fights one weight class lower than Ilia at bantamweight, and he has a record of 5-1. His connection to Ilia helps him circumvent having to go through the Contender Series or another route to get to the UFC. They both started fighting in 2015, but Alexander took 6.5 years off, so Ilia ended up with 10 more fights than him. But Alexander has been instrumental in Ilia's career as a coach and cornerman. Joshua Van will enter the rankings on Tuesday after his victory over Cody Durden. You usually don't hear people complain about being in the rankings, but Tim Elliott's wondering, how am I in the rankings? He hasn't fought in a year. He's ranked number 10. Flyweight and heavyweight are arguably the worst divisions in the UFC. And honorable mention to light heavyweight. Movsar and Aljamain ended up at the same restaurant after UFC 310. Movsar sent him a dessert.
At least they got you your own.
Yusuf Zalal signs a contract for his next fight. He had a good 2024. He won 3 times in just over 7 months, and all of those fights were finishes. Some suggest he fights somebody in the rankings like number 14, Dan Ige, or number 12, Giga Chikadze. There's going to be 5 Fight Pass invitationals next year: March, June, July, September, October, and December. Surprise, Shavkat's still the favorite over Bilal after that last fight. I changed my pick from Shavkat to picking Bilal after that fight, which might be wrong because Shavkat may have been seriously injured going into that fight. Plus, styles make fights. Plus, Ian Gary is good. Rob's gonna get himself sued. Probably there's some people whose side hustle is just to antagonize famous people so they can punch him in the face, and with Marab, that's an easy target. Carlos Prates tells Submission Radio he wants to fight at UFC 312. That's in Sydney in February, headlined by Dricus and Sean Strickland. Carlos Prates wants to take on Jack Della Maddalena, which would be a very interesting striking affair if they did that. Fares Ziem has started training for a new fight. Nouveau fight arrive que la préparation commence. Maybe a ranked opponent. He's coming off a big knockout victory in September in Paris versus Mafrovola. Saba Hamasi competing at the BKFC card in Hollywood, Florida on the 21st of this month, taking on Robbie Peralta. Fernie Padilla is going to be taking on Sean Woodson Saturday in Tampa. A couple long and rangy featherweight fighters. Woodson, 6'2", 78-inch reach. Padilla, 6'1", 76-inch reach. Woodson definitely uses that range well, keeping people at a distance and outpointing people with his boxing skills en route to decision victories. Ian Gary wants to fight 3 times next year: June, September, December. Fresh off his win over the weekend over Max Griffin, Michael Chiesa wants to fight next in his backyard of Seattle, Washington, February 22nd. Charles Jourdain's going to be a father soon. He started the year in the first half of the year with 2 losses, but he ended the year strong with a victory over Victor Henry. First guy to stop Victor Henry in his 31-fight career.
Hey guys, I might drop some funny memes, I might crack some jokes and all that good stuff, but you'll never hear me complaining and crying about what I got going on in my personal life. You won't even hear me brag about what I got going on in my personal life. Why? Because it's my personal life. It's my problems, it's my business, it's for me to worry about. Nobody else. So, that being said, guys, use your platform for good. Stop using your platform to bitch, cry, and complain. You're a man. Act like it.
Greg Hardy boxing Alexei Popin Friday in Russia. Bryce Hall says Dana White is possibly open to him fighting in the UFC one time if he beats Kimbo Slice Jr. impressively at Knucklemania January 25th in Philadelphia.
I'm watching the syndicate, great gym, sparring right now. Every single dude wants to spar me and kick my ass up. We're gonna go.
Assalamu alaikum, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. You speak Arabic?